Hello, everybody. Welcome back, or welcome to episode 17, Aftershow, with special guest, Mr. Stephen Bunnell himself.
Hi, what's up?
Hi. We're gonna do a recap for sure of the episode, but I just want to be mindful of Stephen's time, so I'm going to do that after this. So if you want the recap, it'll be in a few minutes. But we want to talk to Stephen about his new character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. So like you've got your character blended in really well with the party. Like I actually like read the description of your character on like the wiki, I guess. So then wrote like a backstory for him.
Yeah, I went full edgelord.
What was the thinking behind that? Like guide me through it.
Well, like, so for fighters or whatever, it's like a little bit, it's like whatever. I can like do whatever, but for like a warlock and then for a hexblade warlock, I feel like it's probably better to have like a little bit more of an understanding of the character to understand like how it would function in the world. It would feel kind of dumb to think like, oh, I'm just a warlock and I have a hexblade and LOL. Like, I don't know. So I feel like I needed a bit more backstory to kind of understand it.
So like, could you walk us through it?
Walk you through what?
The story.
Yeah, okay. So my guy was part of a wandering nomadic group of people that just kind of move. I actually just recently thought of this. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I know a lot about it. Yeah.
So like in the later seasons, I think the Hound is like part of like this group of like wandering people that are just like friendly people that go from village to village and they kind of like cook food and they're like their own people and they just kind of like hang out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically my character was discovered in like a sacked village by this group of people. They kind of took him in so that he could join this group of people to be like a chill dude and just roam around with them and gather food and just like grow with this collection of people. But my character was somewhat discriminated against because he was very dark for a half elf. So I kind of like took a little inspiration from here and I made a dark half elf. And so because of that, he kind of like never really fit in well with any of the group. After his village got sacked, he kind of like had the inspiration for like, oh, like I want to be like a big warrior so that I can protect this group of people. And he wanted to be like, you know, really kind and helpful. And he wanted to be like a big warrior, but he never really got the training that he needed because people didn't really want to train with him or really want to help him just because he was kind of like such an outcast. And then basically one day the group of people are doing their thing. And then, you know, as what always happens in these horrible lands, you know, a group of rogues or, you know, rogue soldiers or just some, you know, general, or I think it was hobgoblins, what I specifically wrote in the start. Like basically just a wandering group of people are going to fuck shit up, wanders across this tribe and basically starts slaughtering all of them. And then my character's injured during his escape. He takes a tumble down the mountain and then he stumbles upon I think it's a dagger or a sword that's embedded in a stone. And basically the sword reaches out to him and it makes an offer to make a pact with the person saying that he would imbue him with incredible strength, but only if he accepted it. And then I think my character said he would, but he felt a lot of shame over running away from his village and not having the strength to save them. And he said he would do it, but only under the condition that his memory is wiped, so that he doesn't remember how much of a fucking failure he is. So I guess like as part of like the fusion between like a hexblade and then a character, you take on a lot of characteristics of the hexblade. So the character is obviously quite a bit darker now. As a result of taking on the characteristics of that sentient, I guess, hexblade in the making of that pact. And now he kind of like is doing kind of the standard warlock thing where you kind of like thirst for power. That hexblade had gone undiscovered for a long time. So it was basically just looking for some conduit to seek power out. And because it found my character, now he's kind of searching for the crown of domination as the thing that he had heard the most about. So that's why he seeked out the Barbos. Yeah.
So his primary motivation is basically increasing power through his hexblade?
Acquisition of power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have to make a decision later on how much of like the old like nice good elferd ever wants to shine through to the like hex tech elf, or if I just wanted to be like a full on evil fucking person.
And so did you get any kind of like backstory being like basically a dark elf? Is there any kind of like like separation like there is in like other universes, or how does Koibu run that?
I gotta see if Koibu's in here. Hold on. He's not in your chat, is he?
Let me check. So sometimes he is for these after shows. He's a VIP, so I don't think he's in here. No.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So basically, you can be a drow half elf,
Yeah.
and what you can do is you can forego getting two abilities or two of your plus your skills. What do you call them? Like proficiencies or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in place of those two proficiencies, you can grab three spells that you can use one time per long rest. And those three spells are it's Dancing Lights, Fairy Fire, and Darkness.
Okay.
And then you can use those once per long rest. Yeah. So that's basically what I took from the half drow skill set. So I'm basically like a drow half elf, but I call it a dark half elf because the Underdark doesn't exist in Corby's world.
Right. That's the same thing I did with the deep gnome thing. Like it
Yep,
was like,
yeah.
I'm like a mountain mining gnome, kind of, yeah. Okay.
Yep, yeah.
So as a warlock, you have like a full level of spells also. Like you have like full spells, but you're also kind of like a melee character too, or a range character.
So I'm a range character because my pact works as a crossbow, basically.
Okay.
Because improved pact weapon allows you to summon a crossbow instead of a sword. So I basically use that. Warlock spells are a little weird. So basically, I have two spell slots that restore on a short rest, which is nice. But every spell I cast has to be cast at my maximum level spell slot, which is level 3.
Oh, you have a sick cantrip though, right? You took Eldritch Blast.
I didn't. I'm not building Eldritch Blast.
Shit.
A lot of people on Warlock will typically build around that, but because I want to make my crossbow shit as dank as possible, I need all of my invocations for damage on that. So instead of doing the Eldritch Blast thing, I have like an extreme single target nuke if I need to, which is in the form of that Eldritch Smite.
So are you relying on like the burst damage and then like long rests? Like what do you kind of do if like your resources are expended in a fight? What have you got?
I mean, I can keep my range and just shoot with my crossbow.
And you still do pretty decent damage on that?
Yeah, I think so. Because of the way that my improved pact weapon works, I get to use my charisma as my attack and damage modifier. So,
did you say you had 20 charisma? Is that right?
18.
Oh, okay. So because I think someone's like I think Koibu almost mentioned in the previous episode that you had 20 or something. But the warlock spell slots, someone in chat says they come back in a short rest. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's
I was
nuts.
going to have 20 charisma, but in order to fire my crossbow twice, I need to take something
Dex.
called crossbow expert.
Oh, how does
Yeah, I had to take a feat I took a feat instead of the two ability score bonuses. Crossbow expert, this is one of the reasons a lot of people were reading about me shooting my crossbow right in front of that knight, but crossbow expert allows me to shoot within 5 feet of a hostile creature and not have disadvantage. But more importantly, it allows me to shoot without having to reload, like take a whole action or to reload a bolt or a bonus action to do it. So
is that an attack of opportunity or is that a disadvantage? Because you could shoot within 5 feet.
Oh yeah, so if something is right in front of me, I can shoot at it or shoot at other things without being a disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it allows me to shoot twice in a row without having to stop to reload a bolt or whatever.
So as far as your like character development, it feels like you're playing like you're actually role playing like a really vastly different character than Locke, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what's the thinking behind that?
The conflict with the party was just way too much.
Okay.
Like it was getting like there are multiple points where like it should have came down to combat, whether you guys agree or not. Like I think like even like the point of like bringing like Locke's mother in front of him, like with Captain Barbo's character, like there were a lot of points where it's like this has to PvP. And like because if you're playing a character that has like this like allegiance to not nobility, but to like goodness or justice, you're gonna run into like a lot of hard stops where it's like I just can't do this action. So there's a lot of inflexibility with a character like that, which could be okay, but when you're combined with a party where people want to do like either evil shit or like really want to fuck with you or like you lack the flexibility to work within a party like that. I think it can be interesting if everybody's on the same page, but if they're not, it just kind of leads to like PvP scenarios.
I agree. Yeah, I think it was we spent a lot of time like arguing and in more difficulty than we did like actually like
Although
progressing the quest,
like,
right?
I hope that it doesn't turn the opposite now. I don't know why like Captain Barbo's like protecting people from me now. I don't know if he's going to become the new Locke.
Oh yeah, so it like reverses.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about like how the party interacted this episode versus other ones? Do you feel like better about like your role in the campaign and like did you have like fun and everything? Like
Well, I mean, like I'm basically looking out for how other people feel. I like conflict. That's really enjoyable for me. I can spend like an hour and a half arguing about like what we should do in our D&D shit as characters because that's interesting to me. But for other people, I think it's really frustrating, and then they end up getting like really upset about it. So it's just easier to have a character like this because at the end of the day, my character is searching for like powerful items. He's very charismatic and he's very morally flexible. So he can roll with the punches. And if people want to do shit or don't want to do shit, it's okay.
Yeah, and you still get. I really liked how you role played like almost like sarcasm. It was like a really interesting take, right? Because like you come from an angle where you make a comment like with Barbo where it's like, oh, like I bet that you beat him in a duel single-handedly. Like you're so strong. Like you're kind of like taking a different angle, and whereas Locke would have like outright challenged him, right? Like to like you didn't do that bullshit. You just like kind of sneak under there and just like insinuate everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, this character is supposed to be a lot more charismatic than Locke, who's like a lot more stern and less,
So
jokey.
do you take a lot of like? It feels like you took like a pretty large amount of time to like figure out how to like roleplay this character and like figure out how.
Yeah, I probably spent like 5 to 10 hours like reading up on everything. I really wanted to have a good understanding of all the Warlock shit. And I still have a lot of questions for Koibu because it's weird getting like the understanding of everything. But obviously, it's a lot more complicated than playing a fighter. And I've got like 20 fucking things under my features and traits to read. So.
I know how you feel. Yeah, it's you have to do all of your role play, and then you have to sort of like figure out all of the elements of things you can do because your spells can affect the world in so many ways. It's like way more than just like Ooga Booga hit enemy, right? Yeah.
Oh, and actually, here's another question I didn't know. If you have an arcane focus, does that mean you can skip like all like the somatic and movement or whatever elements of using a spell, or do you still have to do those?
I think you still have to do all of those, but they're pretty loosely enforced in Koibu's world. Like I know in 2E, he makes you use like every material. But if you have an arcane focus, you can skip the material component, but I'm pretty sure you still have to be able to speak and wave hands.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The chat can confirm. They say you skip the material component. Yeah, focus skips non-priced materials. Yeah, so I luckily like Koibu doesn't hold us to materials because I know like in 2E, like Dicing with Death, like Maokai's always like, I had to spend 2 silver to like, it gets really anal like with the spell components and stuff. He does with like more expensive spells because there's like stuff like Identify that takes us 100 gold a pop and stuff. Yeah, but with most like spells, it's like 2 shreds of silver. Like you just like have a spell pouch, and that's like assumed.
Yeah, a component pouch. I even have one on my character. I was reading through a lot of the component requirements. This seems really weird, but it seems like it's not enforced at all. So
it's super annoying to do. So like it's good that he doesn't do it because we would have to like it's bad enough to like prepare spells and like do you have to prepare spells or do you know everything?
I don't believe I have anything I have to prepare.
So you can every spell you have you can cast just at will, basically.
Yeah, I think so. What's like a spell that you would prepare?
Well, I can't do that, right? I only have a certain number of spell slots that I can prepare. So like I have, there are literally spells I just can't cast at the moment because I just don't have them ready. I have to decide what's ready before everything.
What does that mean?
Okay, so I only have a certain, as a wizard, right? I only have a certain number of spells that I can like have at the ready. I have a book which has all my spells, but I can only prepare.
Where do you read about this? Is this something that as a warlock I should know, or
I don't know. Actually don't know if warlocks do it, but this is a pretty big deal for wizards. Like the whole reason why you play a sorcerer over a wizard is because sorcerers know all their spells inherently.
Warlocks can cast everything they know at will, but they only I think it's just I only have 2 spell slots always, and it's always max level. So yeah.
Okay, so you basically, but how many spells? Like, how do warlocks learn spells?
Just as you level up, there are certain spells that you can learn via Warlock, and then there are other spells that are granted to you based on like if you take like the Hextech route, that subclass, then there are other spells that are unlocked for you to learn if you want to.
Is that dependent on the pack that you make with like what demon? You get different spells, I think, or
I don't think you do, but I'd have to look. I think that they're So like the Hexblade expanded spells are like you can take Shield, Wrathful Smite, Branding Smite, Magic Weapon. They're not like amazing. It's not like Fireball or some shit.
But the damage.
But I think that's just for Hexblade.
Yeah, so you make up for it in like the. I'm just like trying to figure out like where does Warlock get their like power? Like what's the really big power arc for the character?
I don't know. I think it's just slowly building up my physical attacks with invocations. I think it's what I'm going to do.
So eventually
apparently if you take the Fiend, you can get Fireball, I guess.
Ooh, that's savage. Fireball actually falls off in power later on. Like if we get far, it probably won't in this campaign, but if we get far enough, yeah. And then you can...
Yeah, one of the nicest things about one of the invocations I have, that curse that I used on Tabbington, is it lets me roll crits for a 19 or a 20. So I get like double crit chance on 2 attacks, and for my Eldritch Smite. So if I roll this, if I roll my Hexblade and I get a crit on it, I can declare Eldritch Smite after seeing that I have a crit, and Eldritch Smite is 4d8 damage. So I get to roll 8d8 on top of my
my god, that's it. You can do that now at 5th level.
Yeah.
Jesus. They get free spells with Eldritch invocations. For example, you can cast Levitate without using a spell slot.
That's depending on the invocation you take, I think. Yeah.
And you get new invocations later.
I think I'd have to look up. I only looked up all my shit for level 5 right now.
So you get a crossbow attack, then you can do then you can crit. You have a double chance to crit. Then you can do an additional 8d8 on the top of your actual physical attack.
Yeah, if I crit, yeah.
That's
I can
insane.
do 8, yeah. Otherwise, it's 48. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's super good. That's like literally an extra. It's more than a fireball worth it. I mean, 64 potential damage, right? It's fucking crazy.
Wait, what is?
Well, it's 8d8, so it can do up to 64. Yeah, it's actually crazy.
If I roll on crits, yeah.
And does that go up with your level?
I don't know if Eldritch Smite gets stronger. Well, as I gain more spell slots, so like it does 1d8 per level of the spell slot that I cast it at, and it's always cast at my max spell slot since I'm a warlock. So then when I hit if I get spell slot level 4, then it would go from 48 to 5d8.
Yeah, that's nuts. Do you get any like really big power spikes at level 6, like a lot of other characters do?
I don't know. Hold on. I bought like all the D&D Beyond shit, so I can read all this.
Oh, you bought the books?
Yeah, I'm like $100 of them. This fucking dumb shit.
That's awesome. Did you do this on the plane or something?
No, I did it. I actually did it 2 weeks ago. During that episode when I was quiet the whole time, I was like reading a bunch of shit about
Oh, okay. That's cool. Are you talking
people are mad that I didn't roll in and rejoin, but like I didn't have time to I didn't want to just throw together some shit warlock and not understand anything about what I did.
I'm actually so glad you didn't, because like this is like such a sophisticated character. Like when I read the wiki, I'm like, oh, like maybe he's like really, and then I actually saw the character and like you can immediately tell like who did the artwork and stuff. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Oh, you're looking at the wiki on the website or whatever?
The artwork for your character is like freaking awesome. It's let me go find it. Where's can you link the wiki for Kumo? I thought it was like really a good interpretation of your character. Yeah, link it here. Yeah, I'll DM it to you here.
At level 6, I get an otherworldly patron feature.
Wonder what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to read it.
Looks like the art is by Jack Burton. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, I see it. That's cute. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was like a super good I thought you had had that plan and stuff. It was like a super good rendition of the character.
Ooh, my cloak is so cute. I like it.
Right? It's like, and you got like the 6-pack and the chest and like the badass look, the dark circles under your eyes because you're like a warlock and you packed up with the demons and shit.
Sounds good.
It's super cool, man. Like, yeah, I actually I really like this character. I think it's like one of the more like thought out, like well sophisticated characters that I've seen in D&D.
Yeah, it should be fun. And then having another spellcaster will give us a lot of flexibility. Like I can casting darkness is a lot of fun. Like I could have cast darkness on that boat, so they wouldn't have been able to follow us, and it would have just fallen and they would have like crashed or some shit. That'd be pretty funny.
Do you have like continual darkness?
Well, yeah, so like I can cast darkness, which for 10 minutes will stick to something. So like that boat that was following us, one of the things I considered is I could cast darkness on like the mast, that thing that's the steering thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what would happen is it would just follow them around for 10 minutes. So they wouldn't be able to see anything. So theoretically, they should like crash into the shore or something if that happens. Or we could board them or something and they wouldn't know. But
that's actually so useful in so many use cases.
Yeah.
That's like because very little can like penetrate magical darkness, right? You can't light a light in that.
Well, you would have to have you'd have to have something that allows you, because normal sea darkness I don't think works. You have to have a magic like true sight or something.
Yeah, which almost no one has.
A creature with dark vision. Yeah, a creature with dark vision can't see through this darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. So you would have to cast like a magical light spell, or you'd have to have like some sort of true sight or whatever.
That's so strong. Oh my god, there's so many use cases for that. That's like really good. It's 10 feet. You said like in a radius.
It is a 15-foot radius, so 30-foot diameter.
Oh, damn. So it's like a fireball.
Almost, yeah.
What else can you do?
I took a spell called Shatter.
I've never heard of that.
It has a 10-foot radius sphere, and it does 3d8 damage. With 3d8 thunder damage. This was like really shitty and metagamey of me, but a creature made of inorganic materials such as stone, crystal, or metal has a disadvantage on the saving throw. So if we fight more gargoyles or whatever, or like solid shit, then they're probably taking full damage from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a really large AoE. What is fireballs? So, well, I guess so like theoretically I could do 24 damage max into like a huge radius of things, which is really nice. And then I think thunder. Does thunder? Does that do something to you, like a loud noise? I don't think it does. Never mind.
No, there's certain like spell effects like Thunderstep where it like
Mhm.
does damage and then it has an effect attached to it, but I don't think the actual damage type does things. It might like we could
Yeah.
probably rule lawyer that it does like a loud noise or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
also have invisibility, so I could use that to make me and another person invisible. I think because I would have to cast it at level 3.
that's so useful.
Yeah, and then I have counterspell and fly. Fly seems really sick.
Fly is, I think, once we start abusing fly, Koibu will counter it. But like for the first like 3 or 4 encounters, it'll be really good.
Yeah, because you basically just get a move speed of 60 in any direction you want. Like,
Well, then only range stuff can hit you too. And think about how much like Koibu like relies on like melee stuff. Like
yeah,
anything that
and
has
then I'm a
multi
crossbow,
attack.
so I can literally just fly and just like go up in the air and just start shooting arrows, and it's just has to sit there and suck my dick. Like,
Yep.
it's kind of funny.
I took fly this time for the same reason because Malachi gave me some spells. So I took fly because you can just fly around dropping fireballs on stuff, and like there's that's like
Oh,
crazy
since my
strong.
character has like kind of like a bounty hunter background, the idea of stuff like seeing him and then like knowing what he does and then getting away is like very uncomfortable. What I was gonna do to see if that old guy could swim was I wanted to push him off the boat and then cast Mage Hand to hold him underwater.
Oh, that's
Until he
sick.
drowned and die. But I don't think. But he didn't get to swim, so
That would have
but,
been
yeah.
pretty edgy. Damn, man. Dude, that's cool. I'm really glad that you like wanted to talk about your character a little bit. I'm actually like really excited to play with you. This is really cool.
Yeah, it should be more fun than fighting over what we should do all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes for. I'm sure there'll be some of that anyway, just because of like the personalities and everything. So we'll get enough of that. But like with the characters like inherently working together, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, man. I know you got stuff to do and it's pretty late.
Sure.
But
is Gerald like turning evil now? Or?
It's not that he's turning evil. It's that like I think I had to like think a lot about like his like character progression, and I like the way that what I came up with was like I think he's realized that when he kind of came into the world, he was like, well, everything's good, everything's happy, like I'm just exploring the world. And then like as he became kind of like wary to it and people started dying, like he's lost a lot of friends and things like that, he's had to take like a really sort of like kind of like broken utilitarian position, which is like maybe there's evil that has to be done in order to achieve the greater good. But the problem with Gerald is that he's still trying to figure out what that greater good is.
Mm-hmm.
So so he's really lost right now. Like he's so like on the boat, the thinking of, and I mentioned it to you. I've been doing a lot of improv, so it's really helping me get into characters a little bit more. And I felt like with Gerald, like on the boat, the knight's death is just sort of like where I think he would have protested it before, and he would have been like, like no, like let's not kill a person. Like he realized at that point, he's like, well, this is one small evil on the path to like a greater purpose. And then self-justified that way, and just kind of like goes and becomes emo and thinks about that, and like looks on the bow of the ship into the sea, right? But he doesn't know what that greater purpose is, because I think as a party, we're still kind of lacking that focus, Like after we got the crown, now we've got this like super powerful artifact. Now Tavington's dead. The whole reason why we set off on the adventure is like kind of like done, but yet we've created all these evils in the world. And we've done all of this impact. Now we've just learned that we got another town sacked, right? Like what? When you really think about that, I don't know. Like, how do you? It's kind of challenging to me to think about like how the character should develop, or like he shouldn't be like a happy-go-lucky guy anymore, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I really like the idea of like trying to stay good in a world that's like really fucked. I think is a really interesting idea. That's why I like the concept of Locke.
Yeah.
We're like trying to like how do we like, because we have a noble mission, right? To stop the vampires and to stop like Lord Time. Like, that's kind of what like drove most of our adventure, was kind of like this noble sense of justice or whatever. And then trying to like hold on to being like as good as possible while functioning in a world where people are like all kind of like fucked and evil, I think is like a really interesting line to walk. It seems like now the decisions are going to become much easier, and it's going to be more combat oriented, I think. Or figuring out like what's the optimal way to like proceed in some combat area, since none of us really have like any attachment to like justice or goodness anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to drive Gerald to like the just like darkness, like kill everybody. Like I want to be in that gray area of like. So actually, how I thought about it is, you remember Lord of the Rings, like the movies and everything.
Yeah.
You know how like Gandalf, so Saruman is like Saruman the White, and then he becomes Saruman the Black when he follows Sauron, right? And that's like a purely evil wizard. Then you have like Gandalf, and when he starts off, this is a little bit more like in the books than it is in the movies, but like Gandalf the Grey was kind of like a sort of like questionable individual. Like he definitely wasn't like good, and he definitely wasn't evil, but that's why they called him Gandalf Stormcrow, right? Because like Stormcrow meant that he usually, when he showed up, it was like bad news.
Okay.
And so like Gandalf the Grey, once he fought the Balrog, he was risen back as Gandalf the White, that he was unquestionably good, right? And so like I feel like Gerald, to use that same analogy, he started with like the white robe, right? He was like unquestionably good, and now he's more like gray. Like he's sort of like a wanderer. He's he doesn't.
What is Gerald's purpose right now? What does he want to do?
Well, that's the problem, is he doesn't have one, and that's why I think he's like in this like such an existential crisis, right? Like,
So who is going to lead us for like purpose? That's something that like we need. Because my character is like very self-driven. He just wants to do a thing. It almost has to be Barbo.
Barbo's probably not a good choice, or I guess that's like well, maybe it is. What do you think?
Well, my character doesn't really care so much about like you guys becoming powerful or anything, right? Like the hex blade thing is like kind of like driving him to seek like at the very least like this crown of domination, and then other increasingly powerful artifacts to increase its own power.
Mm-hmm.
So like my person isn't going to be a good like motivator for the party, other than like moving forward to find more increasingly powerful artifacts.
So
somebody has to be like give us like purpose or direction.
My feeling, well, Barbo's kind of always been about the money, right?
Has he? I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't think Lily's character is as interested in doing it, because she's just there like documenting it. So it either has to come from Gerald or Barbo. Like one of those two have to be the ones.
I think what I'm hoping happens is that once we get to, and Koibu kind of insinuated this, right? Like out of character, that like once we get to Stormheim, there's going to be another arc. And then I think if Gerald can kind of, so just like using the Gandalf example again, because I really like that. And I kind of feel like this is also how I took some examples from Malachi and how he interacts with like Arcadia. Where like Gerald like the Gray, Gandalf just kind of walks around smoking weed with hobbits and stuff until something really crazy appears, and it's like, oh, the Dark Lord's back, I got to do something, and like he gets up and that becomes his purpose. Hopefully there's like some kind of, I think, transition like that for Gerald, where like once we get to Stormheim, something's going down, and then he goes like, look, this is a matter of grave, because wizards, I feel like they kind of interact with the world in that way, right? They're not quite like of the world. They're like being magical. They're kind of like in between it. And so eventually, if you become a powerful enough wizard, I think you have to like make the decision to like that you're gonna do something in the world. By virtue of the responsibility you have with the power you have. Yeah. So like vicious is a big thing, right? Like that's kind of like the big bad evil guy trope. And I think in Koibu's world, my understanding is like this could be something that we could actually like change Arcadia forever if we go after this, because like Vicious is like the evil villain.
Okay.
So that might be fun. Like I think he's like dragon levels of powerful. Like he's like insanely strong.
Sure.
So that could be really good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but I
might drive us to if we can't figure anything out, like figuring out exactly. Did you guys figure out the rules specifically for how that crown of domination works?
Yeah, so I can tell you what I know, which is like it can be activated by an artifact that Gerald knows how to create now, so like a key. And we could just take the key from Jeeves, Malachi, because they have one. And then as long as you put it on someone's head and you control the key, you can command them to do anything.
Okay.
But we don't know a couple of things, like what the distance of that is, or like if they go out of sight, like does it work? Like there's still like a lot of more experimentation we need to do.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right,
cool, man. I'm really glad you came by, and it was also just good to catch up with you, man. I miss you sometimes. Like we don't get to talk as much anymore.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing like a trillion things now, but
yeah, I get it, man. Like your life is nuts now, but I've just been
doing a lot as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, for my part, but I just I I don't know, dude. Like, I don't want to. I could tell you this offline a little bit more, but like, I just in general, like, I just really, it's so cool. You know, I spend my entire life like at Nerd Fusion looking at Twitch influencers and reading analytics and stuff, and it's so cool to see what you've done in the last like 6 months. It's actually really awesome. Like, I have so much respect for your brand, what you've done with your YouTube, what you've done with discussions, what you've brought to Twitch. I just want you to know, like, it's really cool. And like, as far as like looking at, there's nothing like it. Like, I've looked at every stream on Twitch at this point, over 300 viewers, and it's just what you're doing is super cool.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I'll catch up with you sometime. If you're not doing anything, maybe I'll stop by if you're not busy.
Yeah, sure. Also, I like that you didn't just get the name Devin Nash. You got the redirect on Elixir too. It's really good.
Yeah, I got the account too. Yeah. It took me 2 years, 2.5 years to do it.
Nice job.
It was really hard. Yeah, got lucky.
All right, have fun. Be careful, man.
Thanks, man. Have a great night.
Bye.
Hello, guys. That was a special guest appearance from my friend Steven, and I'm so happy he could come out and talk about his character. Kumo is so cool, man. Like, he really put a lot of like awesome thought into this character, and just like how he works. I'm actually like pumped. Like, I didn't know what to expect, and then when I read the wiki, I was like, damn, this is actually like the potential for a really cool character. And then when he came into character, he was like, he's so evocative with the way that he made his character and the way that it was designed. So I'm really actually like, this episode like got me excited about D&D again. Like the characters that we have and the sort of story arc as it's progressing. I think it's really, really good. So I'm super happy with this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Just a couple of notes, like really quick, before I like give you guys a recap on like what happened. I have a couple of things. We have a Discord channel. It's discord.gg/mylixia. Still using the old link. But if you go in there, there's central discussions about Dungeons and Dragons. There's central discussions for the community. I'm a full-time broadcaster. I also am the chief marketing officer of Nerd Fusion, which is a company that does Twitch influencing and analytics. And we run Twitch influencers like Dan's Gaming, Giant Waffle, and we also sell information and work with brands to bring more opportunities to Twitch. So I also do full-time streams starting at 9 a.m. PST every morning, including tomorrow morning in 4 hours. Woo! So that's what I do, and the Discord is the center of that community. I also have a YouTube channel, which I try to update almost every day, and we work pretty hard on that. So if you follow those channels or follow this channel, that would mean a lot to me. Okay, that's my plug. Let's do a recap of the episode real quick so that we have that. Yeah, let's do it. Here we go. So, episode 17. When we start off, Wyatt meets us back in Fendon. We're in the town that we started in as a party, coming back after this just crazy, ridiculous quest where pretty much everything's gone to hell. Locke is dead. Basically, our leader of our party, de facto. Midori has killed herself. Barbo's like on his like third character, I don't know, and everything has gone into chaos. Gerald's the only one alive from the original party, and he's lost. He's really lost his will to kind of like figure out what's next, and has kind of fallen into this sort of dark place where he's trying to figure out his next steps. So Gerald and Barbo have kind of taken the lead on the party. Pearl is like the new intern, and they're just sort of trying to figure out what to do, and they're aimless. They go back to Findon to talk to Wyatt, who informs them that Tavington, the old villain that has been pursuing the party since the very beginning, is coming to Fendon in order to pursue Gerald, as he has heard that Gerald is in the town. So Gerald and the party decide to make a plan, but Tavington is coming, and Wyatt introduces the party to a new character named Kumo, a bounty hunter for hire who is going to help with the destruction of Tavington. And he has heard about the Crown of Domination and some of the exploits of the Barbos and is interested in pursuing some work with the party. So we make a plan to take out Colonel Tavington. And this was just so awesome. Like, so a lot of you guys that are in my community that watch the stream pretty regularly know that I love a alternate campaign setting to 5e, which is called Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a D&D variant that's based in technology, but magic still exists. And a big part of Shadowrun is like planning out things, where you like plan out these like big hits and like you make stuff happen. And this was like a very Shadowrun episode, so I really enjoyed it. Like, legitimately, really enjoyed it. Where we made this plan to take out Tavington as he came and defended. So we got poison. We bought poison from one of Wyatt's contacts. We set up 2 people on 2 different roofs with a mage and a bard as backup. We had Kumo with his crossbow. We had Barbo with his crossbow, and we were going to do a coordinated called shot with like 3 shots of bolts that came through, all to take out Tavington. And Gerald just toss a fireball in there for good measure. What the hell, you know? Okay. So we learned, Kumo went ahead and scouted and learned that there was a wizard with the party, which scared me a lot, but I didn't want to say much. I kind of was like, okay, we're going to have to just handle that when that comes up. There was a lot of knights. There was infantry, just basically like 100 people in total that were coming with Tavington. So this could very easily have become like one hell of a thing. Like, it could have been a big issue. So we also learn that there is a cousin of Wyatt in the town of Stormheim, which we fled from Copperhill with a very evil baron named Count Vicious. Count, I should say. And the cousin Grendel apparently has a lot of money that we're supposed to bring back to Fendon, but now that that's sacked, that plan might change. But anyway, kind of driving us towards Stormheim as that next character arc, so we keep that in mind. So we set up the ambush, we drop 3 bolts on this dude and a fireball, and he is super dead. Not only is he super dead, the powerful mage that was with the party, which would have caused us an endless amount of complications, we got pretty lucky. He died or was incapacitated as well, meaning that he couldn't counterspell or break invisibility or do any of the number of things that I imagined he could do and make our life a lot more difficult. We jump off the rooftops after casting invisibility and make a break for it. We get insanely lucky on the entire army checking for us with like 15 rolls, and nobody beats a 13. So we just got unbelievably lucky on our escape. Things could have gone real wrong. And we make a break for the docks, where we find Barbo's protege, Jimmy, a pirate who owns a ship now. And he's going to take us out towards Eridon, where we're going to land in the desert to be able to travel to Stormheim for the next step of our quest. So Jimmy's boat is heading out towards Eridon, but there's a group following us of a single knight and a squire. And I think Destiny and I just couldn't even believe it. Like, I was definitely, like, Steven had mentioned it, I think, offline, where he was expecting, like, this, like, I was expecting, like, the knight to turn into a dragon or, you know, like, just burn down. Like that's why I was like, blow the boat. Like, we're not going to, like, this is too easy. But sure enough, it was just a knight and their squire. They didn't expect to run into the whole party, so they questioned the boat and pulled us over. And we wasted the knight, and we killed the squire. Then we captured the knight, and Gerald got to use his read memory spell, which is a spell that I knew was going to be super cool, and I'm really glad now that I took it, because it's such a good spell for like RP purposes. It was so good. And so we used the read memory spell, and we figured out a couple more like interesting things. Like, she was a retainer to someone named Lord Thorington. That may be important later, may not, might just be forgotten. And we learned that she had been picked up to sack Fendon as well as kill Gerald as part of a retinue of people that was following Lord Colonel Tavington. So the decision was made to kill the knight, despite the fact that she had a family, a husband that was an artist and was the sole supporter for it. She dies, and we send a wizard tweet to Wyatt, who informs us that Fendon has been sacked. So we destroyed another town of Koibus. It just seems like we're going through the entire world, destroying everything. And that leaves us to our quest to continue to Stormheim, where we will rescue the wizard of the fallen town of Copperhill, Yoris the wizard. We're going to try to pull him out of the dungeon where he apparently said something wrong to the queen or offended her in some way, lied or was caught in a conspiracy. We're going to find out when we get to Stormheim. So next episode, episode 18, we're going to be arriving in Stormheim. We're going to seek out this person, Grendel. We're going to learn what Vicious is up to. And we are also going to try to rescue Yoris from the queen. So that is going to be a hell of an episode, and I hope you guys will join me for it. It's going to be super exciting. I also talked to you guys a little bit about like where Gerald is going. Gerald is just a little bit lost, kind of trying to rationalize the reality that he has to create some small evils to create greater goods, but he's just not sure what that greater good is going to be. And I'm really excited about the character arc that Gerald has, and kind of like where he's going to go. So yeah, I think that's the show. I think that's what we're doing. I'm pumped, man. I thought this was a great episode. I think the party is really coming together. This was definitely one of our stronger episodes, and definitely just felt great having Steven back in the show in a full capacity with a well thought out character and just like seeing what he could do with it. This was really great for character building for everybody. It was great for Pearl. It was great for me. It was great for Destiny, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So if you have any questions, just come to me in the Discord and hit me up. I'll be, answering questions there. I got to get up in 3 hours because I'm going to be doing the Pinterest IPO. And then after that, I have an 8 or 9 a.m. stream where we're going to be playing Anno 1800. So if you have any other questions about the show, you can ask me there. Or you can ask me on my stream tomorrow, and we'll talk about it there. And I think if you want to come by for the Anno 1800 playthrough, we'll be there as well. That is it. I think I should definitely go to bed. I actually have a 30-minute walk ahead of me, too, to get home. So I'm going to be walking home in that nice 2 a.m. brisk breeze. I really hope you guys enjoy the show, and thank you for all the follows and for everybody that came in to check out the stream, maybe for the first time, or you checked out the Discord. Super cool. Definitely check out the Discord. It's there in chat. And please do check out my YouTube as well. I have a lot of interesting stuff on there. If anything sounded to you like exciting about like Twitch meta, a lot of the discussions of the stream are analytics based or kind of based about like what's cool and what's going on Twitch and like what we're doing and what we're seeing in trends and things like that. You get kind of an insight into the industry that you wouldn't otherwise have via us at Nerd Fusion. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I will see you guys again mañana at 8 a.m. 9 a.m. is the official stream time, but I'll probably still be up from the Pinterest thing. And Friday is going to be a special expose. We are going to be doing a big research stream on the inconvenient truth of being a Twitch streamer, which is going to analyze a lot of these smaller channels, thousands of smaller channels within like the 10 to sort of like 50 viewer range, and we're going to kind of deep dive into like how those channels are getting discovered or not getting discovered through Twitch's algorithm to find out like what is going on with those channels and if Twitch is really supporting streamers and getting the growth that they say that they are. So we're going to do a big expose on that. It's going to be a big YouTube video. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you guys so much. And, just be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Thank you for all the love. It does make a huge difference. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Very soon. Very soon. Take care of y'all. Really wish you well. Goodbye.